XX. At the far reaches of space lies a planet on the brink of ruin. The planet's name? Kopai. Due to a booming population, booming appetites, and a basic lack of planning, Kopai's inhabitants have all but exhausted their food supply. Their only hope is to find another planet with edible matter. Accordingly, they send unmanned scout vessels called Sparrows out into space. To their dismay, the search is proving fruitless. Just as they're about to give up, the final vessel reports back with news of a miraculous discovery. They mobilize to investigate the planet, which they name PNF 404. Kopai's last hope rests on 3 intrepid explorers. At last, the explorers' 279,000 light-year voyage nears its end. As they initiate the landing sequence, something goes horribly wrong.
Okay, if they fell in from orbit, wouldn't they be dead?
You know, it's funny, Andrew. They actually addressed that in the start of the game. So welcome everyone to our Let's Play of Pikmin 3.
I've never seen this game before, so I'm excited.
Yes, personally, this is one of my favorite games. Like, Nintendo's always been one of my favorite franchises, and overall, Pikmin has been a great series, but I think they really outdid themselves with this one. Even though this game's quite a bit easier than the first two, it has a lot of redeeming. This will be quiet. This.
So yeah, I've never even played or seen anything really Pikmin. I mean, obviously, you know, a little bit. Everybody's seen something, but...
So, the first thing you might notice about this game is that you're not playing as Olimar, which is... It really surprised me when I played this game. Olimar's always been the main character, so all of a sudden they don't have Olimar as the main character, and instead you got this guy named Charlie, who seems a bit sassy, and of course you always have to land in the worst possible spot, so he's out here in the Arctic. And of course, he couldn't have landed in, like, say, a tropical jungle. That would have been entirely too convenient. So, I'm sure everyone recognizes these things. These are the Pikmin who wandered into a strange neighborhood. They're a gang! Oh man, he's anchored the gang!
Oh man, somebody's about to get fucked up.
I'm actually kind of impressed with this. This is one of the best disguised tutorials. Is your guy's like, I don't want these things, make them go away, and they basically teach you all the controls by getting you to try to get rid of the Pikmin. And then they recap them and you're like, oh, that was a tutorial. Which is pretty clever.
I was impressed. He's still hard at work.
That's the one thing about Pikmin is if the American workforce was made of Pikmin, I can guarantee you.
Welfare would be a hell of a lot different.
There is no welfare. You're expected to sacrifice your life for the good of the colony.
I see. Pikmin's a right to work state.
Yeah, pretty much. So this isn't going to be an ordinary Let's Play Pikmin. I should probably explain what my plan is. I actually intend to complete this game without losing a single Pikmin, which might seem like a pretty insane thought, because there's a lot of times where you'll
Where's Pikmin go? Oh, there they are.
Yeah, I've always wondered that too. I've always found that odd. Every single time I've played the opening sequence, that the Pikmin don't follow you immediately at that screen. It's the only time in the game that happens. See, like right there, they're right there with you immediately. These things I'm going to rush into
Okay, so why is it so difficult not to lose a single Pikmin?
Oh, actually, that was what I was trying to say. It's actually not that bad. You would think that going through a whole game without having any losses, basically not taking any damage, would be a monstrous task. But I think as you're watching the series, you'll find that it's far more doable than you might expect. I will admit there's some points in the game where in order to not lose any Pikmin, I kind of have to take it stupidly slow. But for the most part, it won't even seem like I'm going slow. See, why couldn't he have been lucky and landed in the tropical jungle?
Well, because Alf. Alf is why.
He's the ship's engineer, by the way. So I'm sure as he's watching the ship fly overhead, he's like, "My bad."
If he's okay, yeah, that is confusing. They fell from orbit and he's completely unharmed.
They do give a few hints later in the game. I'm sure you'll see all of them, but apparently their spacesuits are pretty good at making you not die. I do apologize if I skip the dialogue out of habit, but let's be honest. If you want to read the characters' lines, you might as well play the game for yourself. There's a lot of data files in the game. We'll be getting to that in just a minute, actually. And in addition to not losing any Pikmin to complete this game, I'm also going to 100% it. But that being said, I don't think I'm going to grab every data file. Not because it's impossible to grab every data file. There's not that many of them, but getting the data files doesn't do a lot for you. I'm going to grab some of them. I'm going to grab some of them, the ones that I find interesting at the very least, and I think I will grab all 10 secret files, but 100%ing all the data files can kind of be a waste of time. You don't have to do anything special to go out of your way and get them. So I'm only going to grab the ones that are of interest in my opinion. So they've introduced a few mechanics about controlling the Pikmin. One of the things that's different in this game from the other Pikmin games is bridge building. You'll see this bridge here and cutscene. Great. Oh man, their communication devices look suspiciously like Wii U pads.
Spoiler alert, people, Nintendo owns the future.
Yes, but as I was saying, the bridges in this game, they're actually different than they were in the other games. You'll notice they're not made of wood anymore, but they're made of stone, and rather than unrolling them with Pikmin, you have to grab tile pieces. Which, in my opinion, this is better, because it allows some of the areas to have a more complex infrastructure that you have to complete. Because, for those of you who've never played a Pikmin game, the real basis of the game is you're trying to build infrastructure to explore. Because you start off being able to be in a limited area. Like right now, where I can go in the game is very small, but as I build bridges and tear down obstacles, it'll quickly progress to the point where I can,
Oh, yay! He found his little... whatever they're called.
I apologize for the high number of cutscenes that'll be in this first episode. In fact, this first episode is going to be almost entirely cutscenes, and I do apologize for that. But I will amend it by saying that there pretty much aren't any cutscenes after this episode.
I feel kind of bad because I'm not talking more, but I've never even seen a Pikmin game, so I'm just kind of like, what?
Don't worry, Andrew. There will be parts of the game where I'm going to really have to be focusing, and I will just go silent, and then you'll basically laugh at me as I get annoyed about everything.
I wouldn't do that, Jacob.
Oh yeah, I didn't even I forgot what I was supposed to be doing. So there's a mechanic of this game that's pretty interesting. For the most part, you won't be able to see this. You won't be able to see the gamepad that I'm controlling at the moment. However, it will pan the camera over where I'm looking on the gamepad. So even though you can't see what I'm doing on the gamepad, you should at least have a general idea of what I'm doing with it. So I don't feel like that'll be too much of a problem. It'd be way too much work to also try to film the gamepad. Oh, I missed the pellet posy. I'm so bad, I'm not MLG at all.
Okay, so wait, wasn't there one of your Pikmin guys back there?
So that's the other big thing about Pikmin game is the Pikmin work by themselves to a certain degree. Your job is to give the Pikmin enough direction that they get their task done, but you don't want to micromanage them. You'll waste a lot of time if you try to micromanage all your Pikmin. As you just saw here, I brought back some of these flowers called pellet posies, I believe is their name, and it's caused these things to sprout from the onion, which is the home of Pikmin. If you go up to one of them and pluck it, it produces more Pikmin.
It's a red Pikmin!
Aw man, our first successful live birth. They did just multiply from 4 to 12 in about like 30 seconds. They're worse than rabbits, let's be honest. They're vegetable rabbits, except worse. So this is another kind of tutorial area. If you go up to this box, you'll see the number 20 on it, and what that means is you need 20 Pikmin to move it. We only have 12, so they're basically forcing you to find more Pikmin.
Man.
Those enemies, they're called female shear grubs. They can't hurt you. They are my favorite thing because all they do is scare you, they never hurt you damage.
Oh, so you just murdered them in cold blood?
Yeah, well, I murdered them to reproduce. Basically, it's human nature.
Wasn't that why any war was ever fought ever?
In addition, the 5 pellet. In addition to bringing back pellet posies, I can also bring back enemy corpses. If you bring back a pellet of the same color as your Pikmin, it gives you twice as many as the number on the pellet. So this 5 pellet will give you 10 Pikmin.
Oh, I see.
And also that number on the bottom means it needs 5 Pikmin to carry it at least. The number on the top is how many Pikmin are actually carrying it. Because that's 8 Pikmin carrying a 5 item, they carry it considerably faster. There is a max number of Pikmin that can carry an item. Usually it's roughly twice as many as minimum, but sometimes they limit it before that for really big things. I've always found it a bit strange that you actually get 21 Pikmin here instead of the 20 you need to move the box. I'm assuming it's in case of a glitch where a Pikmin can get pushed through the world. I've never had that happen to me. However, I have had one of the captains fall through the world, so I am aware that it can happen. I'll talk about that. It's much later in the game when it happened to me, but I will explain what I did to cause it to happen. And I'm going to be doing it again because it's kind of a way to cheat the game because it's fighting one of the bosses. And you basically just fodder your captain and let it mercilessly attack your captain when you murder it from behind. Which sounds kind of silly, but it's highly effective.
So your captains cannot die?
Your captain cannot die. In fact, when my captain fell through the world, she just fell back from the sky again and took some damage. So apparently in this universe, it just loops forever.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of the sillier parts about this game. So, believe it or not, we've grown like 21 Pikmin, and we've pushed away that obstacle, and we're actually approaching the end of this area. The first day has no time limit, So you can take all the time you want in this area, but you don't get a lot done the first day, which is kind of the famous speedrunners. This thing right here, the dirt wall, staple of the series, used to be made of wood, now it is made of sand for some reason. The more Pikmin you have on it, the faster you break them down. So in certain areas, it's sometimes strategic to only put a few Pikmin on it and work on other stuff while they slowly take down the wall. And all your Pikmin disappeared. And I guess I lied. This is the other time that your Pikmin seriously disappeared. Any signs of life? All those Pikmin I just grew aren't living. They also ran away. And I'm not a life form either. We got a telephone call on our gamepad. It's the future, everybody.
Look at the Wii U gamepad.
Yeah, well, because this is our telephone, Andrew.
Oh, okay. Hello.
I thought you could hear her. It's not playing her audio, but it's supposed to. Huh.
I can do her audio.
That's not totally inaccurate, I have to say. And also, it went from day to night in that short amount of time we were on the phone.
Well, you know how it can be when you're on the phone.
I'd like to point out something really, really fast. Can you be quiet for a sec? So I think what they're implying with that sound is that you're about to get attacked by a monster, but I'd like to argue that not a single enemy in this game makes that noise.
Maybe there's just something more ominous and threatening.
Probably. It's the boss to Pikmin 4. It's the greatest foreshadowing ever done.
It's like people go back and they find that like there were audio files back in Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2.
You know, okay, so I mentioned that I'm going to grab the stupid files.
Wait. That mark, is that from Olimar's ship? Because that's a significantly bigger mark.
See, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because people who have played the Pikmin series know exactly what that is.
I have no idea.
I will point it out at the start of the next episode. So this is, at the end of each day it brings you to this screen, and on this he's saying you have 3 days worth of provisions left, and you drink one of your rations, and now you have 2 days remaining. This is a hard cap on the amount of time you have in the game. If you run out of juice, you just lose. Like, that's the end of the game. I will say they are very generous at the amount of time they give you. But that was something that they introduced in Pikmin 1, where you had a certain number of days to complete the game. Pikmin 2, they removed that because people complained it was too hard. So they brought it back a bit in this game by making it so that you can extend your amount of time on the planet by basically getting more days, which we'll be explaining in the next episode. But they're very generous with it, so if you're looking at the, oh no, I have 2 days to beat the game, don't worry, you will be fine. And as they're saying here, basically, they're recapping the introduction of the game. I hope you were paying attention and don't even need to read that.
Well,
but
no, go on.
Oh.
No, go on.
But this is going to be the end of the first episode, and then we're going to structure the episode by day. So one Pikmin day will be one episode, meaning that aside from this video, every episode will be roughly 20 minutes.
Actually, this episode is pretty close to 20 minutes, so
right.
That works out great.
All the episodes are 20 minutes.
Yay!
Alright, everybody. Thanks for watching. Come back next time when it will be substantially more interesting.
It will be better, we promise.